Amid a raging controversy over the conduct of the NEET examination, the Supreme Court has today issued notice to the centre and the NTA over a petition seeking to cancel the results of the NEET-UG 2024. Well, the court has today told the NTA that the sanctity of the exams has been affected and it is demanding answers. Now, the court said it's not that simple, that because you have done it, you've held the exam, that it is sacrosanct. And we need answers on that as to why these discrepancies have come to the fore. Now, several petitions have been filed in the court that claim irregularities in scores and alleged preferential treatment to some students. Petitions also challenge grace marks that have been awarded to around 1,600 students in the NEET exam 2024. There are allegations that the paper has been leaked. Now, the petitioners have also pointed to the fact that this year 67 candidates got the perfect 720 out of 720 marks, achieving an All India rank 1. Last year, there were 2 toppers and 1 in 2022. Now, many have claimed it was impossible to score 716, 718 or 719 marks out of 720. However, according to the NTA, the loss of exam time was ascertained and such candidates, it said, were compensated with marks based on their answering efficiency and the time lost as per the mechanism that has been established by the court through its judgment in 2018. All right. These petitions now have been filed in the court, and the court today has taken a tough stance on the alleged irregularities that have come to the fore in the conduct of the NEET exam. The court will continue to hear the matter. There are petitions that have been filed in different high courts in different states also. A lot of discrepancies have come to the fore from the state of Haryana as well. All right, to talk more on that, I am being joined by a guest on the broadcast here. I have with me Praneet Mungali, trustee Sanctity Group of Schools, who's also an educationist. And we have Dr. Amit Gupta, NEET exam educator from Unacademy, who's also a petitioner in the case. Dr. Gupta, if I could come to you first. What really explains this? Over 24 lakh candidates, we do believe, had appeared for the NEET exam 2024 at more than 4,700 centers this time. And many students, it is being reported, have been given All India rank 1. Thousands of students have been given grace marks. How is this possible?
See, there are 2 issues in this matter this year. One is about the alleged paper leak and other is about the goof up, the alleged goof up made by NTA while declaring the results. So let us talk one by one. Talking about the alleged paper leak, there have been FIRs and the police investigating officers who have claimed that sanctity of the exam has been breached. And for that same matter, a petition has been put in front of Supreme Court, and every day there are new petitions which are being tagged in the same petition for this particular issue, which is NEET-UG paper leak. Now, what happened? This issue was already subsidized. Amidst all this, NTA declared the result, and that too on the day of election, 10 days before the expected or the declared date. And then it had more than, there have never been more than 1 or 2 toppers scoring 720 out of 720,
right,
but 67 students scoring the same. And then also practically impossible scores like 718 and 19 were declared. So all this led to a lot of chaos and confusion, and NTA kept a silence on these issues until there was a public outcry. Then only a notification, a clarification was issued that some mechanism has been derived to give bonus marks, grace marks to the students where time loss occurred. Now the point is that let's talk about this grace mark issue. NTA has actually used the judgment of a CLAT case to normalize and give grace marks to affected students. And however, clearly in the judgment, it is written that it is not applicable and cannot be used as a reference for engineering and medical entrance exam. See, the size of the CLAT exam is very small. While NEET-UG is the largest exam, possibly the largest exam in the world. 25 lakh candidates appearing. So what is this happened? That there are certain things, maybe mathematically, there was a logic in that particular grace marks giving thing, but practically it has failed because it has made some of those students who were below cutoff the all India toppers. Say, for example, we were expecting a cutoff for government MBBS around 630 marks. But there are examples where this grace marks has made the 630 marks student reach 720 and become All India rank one
Right.
rather than being not selected. So this
Right.
is led to public outcry.
So you're saying that there are two issues at hand here. First is, of course, the mechanism that has been adopted of giving grace marks to the students, and on what basis that has been done, that really is difficult to understand at this point in time. However, the NTA has tried to give explanations. We'll talk about that also, but also there is another issue of exam leak. Well, the paper leak that we're
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
allegations that have also come to the fore. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let me go to Praneeth Mungali also. Praneeth, what do you understand of the situation at the moment? There are 67 students, candidates who've been given All India rank 1. At least 1,600 who've been given grace marks. What is in your understanding? How do you see this?
I think, Kitty, from the outset, like Dr. Gupta has pointed out, these results seem anomalous and irregular if one looks at the historical pattern of the number of students scoring such high marks. Because the trend over the last few years is that the number of students getting these kind of scores is definitely under 5. So if one sees a 13-fold increase in the number of students getting perfect scores or near perfect scores, then that itself seems highly irregular. And a question of integrity, transparency, and faith for any kind of a competitive exam, but especially one when it's connected to medical education. We are talking about potentially the lives of so many people at stake in the future. And what is even more worrisome is that there are reports which are coming out from the press that a particular institute or a couple of coaching institutes seem to have a very high representation of children with a couple of scores. These definitely raise
Yes.
questions which need to be asked, and it's only fair on the 24, 25 lakh students, the parents, and in fact, the nation which wants to get to the bottom of this. So I think any stakeholder connected with education would welcome the move of Supreme Court asking NTABs for a justification of these irregularities.
But do you think there are petitions also that have been filed in the courts asking for cancelling of the NEET exam results? Would that bring a solution? I mean, a lot of students' future is at stake here. Many through their hard work, others we do not know how did they really get, like, I mean, these number of students, as we all have been talking about, getting All India rank 1 is something that that's something that's not easy to understand, not easy to comprehend at this point in time. Do you think would that be a solution? Should the exam be held again?
It's a very difficult question, Kitty, because the anomalous results definitely need to be proved. But if you think of the collective pressure which 24 lakh students and their parents need to get through, students who've gone through the process absolutely fairly and would have to repeat the exam in entirety again, it's the process would have to be held in abeyance. The exam would have to be held again. So unless the magnitude of irregularities come forth in such a nature that the very premise of the exam is put into question, which are questions which the NTA would have to answer, I think scrapping the exam is something which might, cause more stress to the large number of students. So it's a very difficult one to answer. There are no easy answers to this, but at the right starting point is a thorough investigation and subject to what comes forth. If there are any irregularities or, if I may dare say, incorrect practices which come forth, then those are questions that have to be asked at that stage for sure.
Well, yes, those who are responsible for the alleged irregularities or the discrepancies now that have come to the fore, they must be booked, of course. They must be taken to task. So, Dr. Gupta, what would you say? What's your opinion? Should the exam be held again? I mean, it's going to be a massive exercise if that happens, and that looks quite unlikely at this point in time.
See, in the history of pre-medical entrance exams, once and only once, the All India Pre-Medical Test, AIPMT, which is now called as NEET, was quashed. And it happened in 2015 on alleged paper leaks itself. And I was actually coincidentally here. I was the person who spearheaded that entire movement. We got the PIL and writ petitions, and we managed to convince the court that the sanctity of exam has been breached. Now, what Honorable Justice Amitav Rai said in that case, that quashing of an exam must be the last resort. See, it is like, if I may give an analogy, it's like giving capital punishment. It is only given in the rarest of the rare cases. Now, what
Right.
happens if there is no other remedy available apart from quashing the exam? Then only the exam should be cancelled. The reason is because there are numerous genuine students who have worked hard and
Absolutely.
will they have to undergo a lot of stress once again. So once the investigating authorities conclusively establish whether really the sanctity of the exam has been breached, because
Yes.
if the sanctity of the exam has been breached, as it happened in 2015, and we managed to convince the court. Right now, this time, even I don't have any direct evidences. We are seeing FIRs in police claiming in Gujarat as well as in
In
Patna
Haryana
that
also.
yes, yeah, in Haryana also, yes, the sanctity is breached. I
Yes.
would request the court to take suo moto and call those investigating officers and take their affidavits and then transfer the case to CBI and make it very quickly. Let us establish the fact, the first fact, that whether the sanctity is breached or not.
Right.
If it is not breached, then we should close this file, and if it is breached, then we have no option but to reconduct the examination. So
Okay.
once that
Okay.
puzzle is solved, then we can go ahead with the second problem, which is a major goof by NTA, by introducing a system of normalization, a system of giving grace marks in an examination which is an elimination examination. It's not a board examination whereby you can give grace, because if you
Right.
give grace to one student, you
Right.
are cutting the neck of another student. You cannot do
Absolutely. Well,
this.
that's a very good point, an important point that you've raised here. And of course, whether the NTA would be able to give any justification as to what has happened in the court, the matter is going to be heard very soon, in a few days from now. Well, that remains to be seen, and how this entire controversy really pans out in the coming days. That also is something we'll keep an eye on. Thank you so much, Dr.
I
Gupta,
have
as
a
well as Mr.
very
Praneeth.
small, very small suggestion before we close.
Okay.
I don't understand why is government not making this exam online, just like JEE and NEET.
Yes.
I mean, this will not only
That's
solve
something a lot of
logistic
people are
issues.
asking about. Yes, a lot of people have expressed their concerns about that, that the exam should be made online. That
Yeah.
why, yes. All
So
right,
I don't
complete
know.
your
There is
point,
no,
yes.
can't find a reason why it's not happening.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, for taking out the time and speaking to NDTV. Thank you so much, Mr. Praneeth, for speaking to NDTV here and sharing your views with us.